WWE pay-per-views. Or should I say WWE PLEs? Excuse me. Some have had great build-ups, some have had awful build-ups. We've had great closers to main events of pay-per-views, and we've had terrible ones. Today, we're gonna take a look at a few of the terrible ones. And you tell me what you think. Tell me if you disagree, or if this is pretty much where you guys are sitting at too with these opinions. As always, if you're going to enjoy the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're new, turn the post notification bell so you won't miss any more videos, and let's get straight into it. 2010 SummerSlam. We have to get this one right out the bag early, right? This one pissed everybody off. This is when Team Cena faced Nexus. Now, Nexus, if you don't know, was the hottest group at that time. It consisted of over 7 members, and they came in, wreaked havoc on WWE, and left. Kind of like Retribution, but they were better, right? They stuck. The leader of the group was Wade Barrett. Daniel Bryan came from this group. Ryback was also notable. Darren Young came from this group. Heath Slater, Justin Gabriel, David Otunga, just to name a couple people. They were the hottest thing going that summer. In fact, I remember being a kid. I believe it was CM Punk in a triple threat match, and Nexus just debuted. And I'm not gonna lie, as a kid, of course I was on Team Cena's side. Like, of course, who wasn't on John Cena's side, right? However, it wasn't until I got older and more familiar with the business side of pro wrestling, the actual side of pro wrestling, the cinema, as you would say, of pro wrestling. It was then I realized that Team Cena should not have won that match versus Nexus. The members of Team Cena included the Great Khali, Bret Hart, obviously John Cena, Edge, Chris Jericho, R-Truth, John Morrison. That was the most random 7 ever. The buildup was great. Look at how the ring just shook. Edge was itching to put his hands on them. And of course, Team Cena ultimately ended up winning. As a child, I loved it. As a wrestling fan, now that I'm older, I realized that that killed the careers of Wade Barrett and the rest of Nexus. That was ultimately the worst decision to end a pay-per-view. Obviously, I know you want to send the kids home happy, send everyone home happy. However, that kind of just backfired overall. But then again, Vince was in charge, and he let Cena pretty much call the shot on that one. Chris Jericho and Edge later went on to end interviews and aired out their grievances and displeasures from that match, pretty much saying that John Cena made the wrong decision, and they agreed that Nexus should have gone over in that match. Cena, thankfully years later, agreed as well. However, the damage was already done. 2022 Clash of the Castle. This was when Drew McIntyre faced Roman Reigns for the undisputed Universal Championship. And everybody pretty much thought Drew was gonna win this. Everything, all the signs was pointed to Drew McIntyre. Being a Roman Reigns fan, obviously I acknowledged my tribal chief. Even thought that it was over. And I was scared. Not gonna lie, watching that, I was scared. But Solo did debut, and Solo screwed over Drew McIntyre and helped the tribal chief win. Now, that was the right decision overall because, as you can tell, the storyline definitely picked up later on, and we got a better ending to Roman Reigns' historic title run and story overall. However, the reason why this has made the list is because it wasn't the match, it was what was done after the match. Drew McIntyre proceeded to get in the ring and he sung. Vince thought this was a good idea to stop the fans from rioting, possibly because Roman Reigns won, and Roman hurried up and got the hell out of there. He got the hell out of Dodge before shit got real. That's the only reason why this is up there on the list. Let me know if you agree in the comments down below. I would love to hear your opinion on it. The 2019 Hell in a Cell. This was when The Fiend faced Seth freaking Rollins. Now, this was an interesting feud because it was done too prematurely, right? Obviously, at that time, Seth was huge. Seth was over. Seth was carrying the Universal Championship. He was carrying the company practically on his back. But also, fans was kind of growing stale of his his gimmick, in a sense. This whole burn it down, all that stuff. Everybody was getting sick of it. And I'm a Seth fan, but at that time, people were getting sick of it, right? And The Fiend was this newcomer Well, not really a newcomer. We all know Bray Wyatt. He's been around. He's definitely been around. However, The Fiend was this new rising gimmick of Bray Wyatt, and he was being booked so heavily. However, Vince still never knew what to do with The Fiend, right? The Fiend never really got a proper push, a proper run. Even when The Fiend won the championship, he never really got a solid run. His booking was not the best. It was kind of terrible. It was terrible. In fact, it was Goldberg that took the title off of him. Why? And then Braun Strowman took the title off of Goldberg. Why? Obviously, I think that one was because Roman Reigns wasn't available for WrestleMania, but that's a whole different story. Back to this atrocity of a match. This was the first time ever in WWE history that a Hell in a Cell match ended due to disqualification? Referee stoppage? What do you call that? Seth Rollins proceeded to hit The Fiend with all these gimmicky weapons and everything, and the ref just called it off. Like, what the hell was the reason behind that? And how do you stop a match after that? Didn't Undertaker throw Mankind off of a 30-foot cell? His ear was ripped off, and then his crazy ass got back up, climbed the cell, and went through it. How do you stop a match after that? What the hell? WrestleMania 25. This one hurts my soul, right? This was when Randy Orton faced Triple H for the WWE Championship. This one hurts my soul because the build-up was fantastic. Triple H was unhinged. He was going crazy, broke into Randy's house and whooped his ass and threw him through this front fucking window. This was just peak. Man, the build-up was amazing. He attacked him backstage with a sledgehammer and just broke the mirror. Like, bro, like, Randy was, like, pissing off Triple H. They had this crazy stipulation that if Triple H put his hands on Randy, that the whole match was over. Randy pretty much would not give Triple H his title opportunity at WrestleMania. But, yo, the match was not it, bro. That match was not it. On top of that, there was no storytelling in the match, right? And Triple H and Randy Orton are known for storytelling. And yeah, that was still early in Randy's career, but there was no storytelling in the match. They just wrestled a regular match. And it doesn't help that they had to follow Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, who arguably just put on the greatest WWE WrestleMania match, possibly the greatest WWE match of all time. That didn't help their case here. So that's why this made the list. The 2006 Royal Rumble. Kurt Angle versus Mark Henry ended the pay-per-view. Now, this only ended the pay-per-view. This match realistically only happened just so that Undertaker could come back, right? But the problem was Rey Mysterio won the Royal Rumble from the number 2 entrance, which is practically winning from number 1. That should have main evented. He did it for Eddie. He even went on to WrestleMania and ultimately won the World Heavyweight title in a triple threat versus Randy Orton and Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 22. Man, Rey Mysterio should have main evented the 2006 Royal Rumble. That should have closed the night off. Fans would have been excited for that. However, I'm not saying fans weren't excited for Undertaker's return. You could have done that before, right? You could have done that in a match prior to that, right? Rey Mysterio could have had his moment. Rey could have had his moment. And Kurt Angle don't put on bad matches. Okay, let's get that clear right now. Kurt don't put on no bad matches, right? But that match right there just wasn't it. It just wasn't it. The pacing was off. And that was primarily Mark Henry struggling to keep up with Kurt Angle. Kurt wrestles, if you pay attention to how Kurt Angle wrestles, he wrestles based on how his opponent wrestles. He adjusts. There's not many wrestlers nowadays that do that. Chad Gable being one of them. He adjusts to how you wrestle and your style, your speed, and he matches your energy. And I freaking love that. That's why everybody loved the wrestling machine. That's why everybody loved Kurt Angle, man. But ultimately, Rey Mysterio should have closed out this night, which is why this made the list. Oh, this one pissed me off. The 2016 SummerSlam. This was when Randy Orton faced Brock Lesnar. And the buildup, once again, was fire. We were looking forward to it. The whole gimmick was it only takes one RKO to get the Viperville, right? And Paul was pitching this whole, you're not gonna hit an RKO on my client. You're not gonna hit the RKO on Brock Lesnar. Ultimately, Randy Orton hit the RKO on Brock Lesnar. It came out of nowhere. He ended off the night on fire. He went through the crowd, man. They was hot. They was hot, man. But this match just sucked. And it ended in referee stoppage. It even caused a backstage fight between Chris Jericho and Brock Lesnar. Shane came out. Shane was looking like, I got to the point where I didn't even know if that was part of the storyline or not. Obviously, Vince has a hand up his, like obviously Vince has his hand in here, right? So this was obviously scripted. However, I got to the point where I was even watching it like, what the hell? I was confused. I was really confused. And then Brock F5 Shane McMahon. I was really lost, man. Like, bro, what? But hey, referee stoppage to end a SummerSlam main event. That's why this is on the list. WrestleMania 33. Roman Reigns versus The Undertaker. Not much can be said here, right? The Hardy Boys just came back earlier that night. Brock Lesnar faced Goldberg for the Universal title. What was this match? And then Undertaker teased retirement after the end of the match. Like, now obviously if you keep up with Undertaker, you watch this podcast, you would understand that even Undertaker said he was not particularly a fan of this match, right? Which is why he came back. He couldn't end his career on that match, right? He wasn't a big fan of that match. The fans, like Roman beating him, the match didn't even make sense. The build-up didn't even make sense. The whole match itself was confusing. Undertaker just was so badly out of ring shape at that time. And I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because Undertaker practically is Mr. WrestleMania. Shout out to Shawn Michaels, of course. Undertaker has carried WrestleMania on his back for many years of our childhood, for many decades. So I'm going to give Undertaker the benefit of the doubt this match. However, that match was confusing. The match itself was confusing to watch. You almost forgot that match was happening the whole night. You were so excited from everything that happened earlier that match. That match happened and you were like, oh, okay. I guess, right? And then Roman came out the next night to boos. He sat there for like 5-10 minutes getting booed out the door just to say this is his yard now. Over the Limit 2011. John Laurinaitis versus John Cena to main event the pay-per-view. This match was more gimmicky, right? I guess it was more of a fun style match. You know, John Cena get to kick the hell out of his boss, right? Fans were, at the time, were like, oh, okay, this could be interesting. This could be fun. John Laurinaitis won the match. Big Show came back and helped him. Earlier that night, CM Punk put on a banger with Daniel Bryan. That should have main evented this pay-per-view. This one's embarrassing. Backlash 2018. Samoa Joe versus Roman Reigns. All I can say about this match is no one, and I mean no one, cared. They were booing the doors off of the place for the fans that stayed, right? Fans were reportedly leaving in the middle of this match. For the fans that stayed, it was nothing but boos. They took over, the fans took over and hijacked that main event because they didn't care. They didn't care about this match at all. They started chanting, this is boring, and a whole bunch of other insanities that I just can't say. Fans were not rocking with this match. Me at home, I'm not gonna lie. I remember watching this match and I turned it the hell off because I didn't care for it either. Everything about that match was just like, why? So I didn't care about it either. So I'm not gonna lie, I turned it off too. Sue me. Battleground 2013. Randy Orton versus Daniel Bryan. Now this match was interesting, right? This was my second pay-per-view that I've ever been to, ever in my life, right? I was a kid, right? I think I was like 12, 11 during this match. My first pay-per-view I ever went to was Night of Champions 2011 in Buffalo, New York. Not gonna lie, it was fire seeing CM Punk versus Triple H. CM Punk should have won that match. But hey, that's a whole different video. That's a whole different story, right? This match, Daniel Bryan versus Randy Orton. This match was only existed for storytelling, right? And that's okay. That's okay, right? Nobody there knew Daniel Bryan was gonna win, right? I mean, as a kid, you obviously want him to win, but he wasn't winning. Earlier that night, Alberto Del Rio faced Rob Van Dam for the World Heavyweight Championship. We all wanted Rob Van Dam to win. He lost. He could never beat Alberto. He lost. We kind of had a feeling Daniel was gonna lose. But not even just that. That wasn't the fact that that was a bad main event, bad way to end the pay-per-view. The power in the arena was starting to go out. I don't know if you guys remember that. I don't know what you guys saw at home, but from what I saw in the arena, the power went out. It was hectic, and he blamed it all on Brad Maddox the next night on Raw. That was freaking hilarious. Big Show came back, and Big Show pretty much punched Daniel Bryan in the face, punched Randy Orton in the face, knocked the ref out. He was just knocking everybody the hell out. And that was the end of the main event. We were like, what the f? Everybody there was chanting yes to what the f? WrestleMania 32, Triple H versus Roman Reigns. Again, just like the 2018 Backlash situation, this was a match that no one cared about, right? We already knew Roman was over pushed at this time, and we already knew what the story was gonna be. We already knew how this was gonna end, right? And we knew it was gonna end with Roman Reigns pinning Triple H for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania. And let me just tell you, no one cared. No one cared. What surprised me is they gave them 30 freaking minutes. 30 minutes. I dare you to go back and watch that match, right? It was kind of stale. It wasn't like the worst main event I've ever seen ever at WrestleMania, but it was a stale match, right? And it didn't help that the crowd was more so excited that the match was over, more than it was excited during the match. They didn't care. And it was so sad, man. It was so sad. The buildup was there, right? The buildup was there. You know, Triple H coming back, winning the World Heavyweight Championship at the Royal Rumble. The buildup was there. Triple H even went on to put on a banger versus Dolph Ziggler, and I think he put on a banger versus Dean Ambrose. I don't know where they fumbled this one at. The 2015 Royal Rumble match. Matter of fact, the entire Royal Rumble match. What the hell was that? If it wasn't clear that y'all wanted Roman Reigns to win, I don't know what the hell was. The crowd was chanting Rusev at the end of the night, just so that they didn't want Roman to win, which was surprising because the year prior, Roman Reigns was getting cheered because they didn't want Batista to win. Now this year, 2015, they were chanting Rusev because they don't want Roman to win. That was because Roman was so pushed at the time. Roman was so over pushed at the time. It was clear that the plans were Roman Reigns to take the title off of Brock Lesnar. Ultimately, I'm glad they didn't go with that decision at WrestleMania. My boy Seth cashed in, had the cash in, the heist of the century, and saved that main event. However, Brock and Roman were starting to cook towards the end, man. I'll give them that. They started to cook towards the end. But no, this match was crazy. The Authority came out, and it was mostly a story-lined Royal Rumble match, which was not fair, right? Was not fair. The Authority came out, which resulted in The Rock coming out. The Rock got a minor pop, right? Obviously, he always gets a pop, right? But the reason why I'm saying minor is because it went back to booing when the crowd realized why The Rock was there to help Roman get over. And when that just didn't help. It didn't help. It didn't help. Nothing could save that night. Nothing could save that pay-per-view. It was over. It was over. Last on this list, and certainly least, Undertaker versus Goldberg, Super Showdown 2019. It happened. It was a match, right? The match sucked. And Undertaker's known for putting on bangers. But Undertaker just was out of shape at that time. Goldberg didn't know what the hell he was doing. He looked out of it. He looked concussed. He almost gave Undertaker a concussion with this freaking jacked up jackhammer. This match just was not it, man. The buildup wasn't even it. This match just happened. Vince saw this and was like, money, 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 money. Saudi Arabia will love it. Why not? I've recently gone back and rewatched that match, and I'm not gonna lie, I can't get my time back, and that really just pissed me off. But I'm just gonna end it on a positive note. If you're going to enjoy the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, turn the post notification bell so you won't miss any more videos, and let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let me know if there's any matches or any main events that I left off that you would have loved to see me talk about. I would love to do a part 2 to this, especially if we can get more matches like this. But hey, let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.